This is the Sisterhood Society podcast, where three sisters talk life, food, fashion, kids, and everything in between. Become part of our sisterhood where everyone is welcome at our table.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sisterhood Society podcast. We're so excited to be here with another episode. We have updates for you. One, about my air conditioning, and two, we're going to be talking about, this is part 2 of why we quit diet culture. So we had a episode go up a couple of months ago, and it's actually one of our most listened to episodes. And so we thought we would do kind of like a part 2 to that, as well as kind of update you guys on our health journey. So we're going to start with what's good in the sisterhood.
Guys, hold on to your seats. I am a local mouse hero.
Mouse hero.
Did you actually rescue it though?
I don't know.
Pretty sure it's still in there.
Tara has these grated egress windows, and this poor little mouse got stuck in one. And I was like, I need to help this poor mouse get out because it's trying to climb up the screen over the window, but it can't make it from the screen to the grate. So I was like, I will gather the kids, and we will make a rope for this mouse.
We have a grate over the egress so the kids don't fall into it, but then of course critters do.
Yeah. So anyways, this mouse, I made a little rope for him. We lowered it down
Out of crepe paper.
He still wants to give that screen a good go. Keeps climbing up and thinks
It's not smart mouse.
No, that's why he's in the egress window. So we made him a rope. We don't know if he's taken the bait yet, but
Aunt Kara said we should put a board in there to give him a
I was too scared to
ramp.
do that because I didn't want him jumping out at me and the kids.
Yeah.
I've had that happen once, and it has scarred me for life. I screamed like a guttural scream that I've never heard
figured-
myself make before.
Brian could just put a net in there, like the pool net.
You know, Brecken suggested that, and I was like, if that mouse comes jumping out at me, I will never forgive you. So we decided to make a rope and lower it down, but he hasn't. I don't think he's figured it out yet.
What's funny?
Anyways, I guess I can't call myself a hero, but I have tried.
Oh, it's funny. Well, today's Briley's birthday. So we actually, as soon as we get done podcasting, I'm taking her out. And she said that she wanted to go shopping.
Oh,
Because we always take her out. They take the kids out one-on-one, and all the rest of the kids lament that they can't go. And so that they get to pick what their activities are. So she wants to go shopping. And then she wants to go to Chuck E. Cheese, which I'm not excited about. But because Brian had to work today, I said, are you okay if we go to Chuck E. Cheese as a whole family? So all the kids are extremely excited about that.
that's cute.
But I came upstairs and they were doing a like spa day with Briley. So they had her foot in a little like water in a bucket. And then Brecken was painting her toes and like buffing them. It was pretty funny.
It's really cute.
Yeah.
When I walked up to go save the mouse, they were doing each other's makeup for their dinner tonight.
That's so cute.
Briley has a dress on and like a little barrette in her hair. She's like ready to go.
Brecken looks like she got a sunburn because of all the blush.
That's the only way to wear blush, honestly. So my good news is after 3 weeks of not having air conditioning, my air conditioning unit was finally delivered and fixed today. And it's just been a journey. I literally my life has just been such a shiz show for like 3 weeks straight. And between that and my car, and there's just been a lot happening in my life. So in my personal life. So stupid. So I feel like my mom was like, bad things happen in a series of threes and they're slowly getting fixed. So it's fine. So I officially cleaned out my bedroom today that I was staying at my parents', and my mom helped me load all my stuff up, and we flipped the bedroom, and it was kind of sad. My whole suitcase smells like cigars. Her dad loves cigars, and he sits on his back patio, and so my clothes smell like him, and it made me kind of sad. Like I opened my suitcase and I was like, oh.
What's good in the retiree hood is that Dad found some Fresca.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of people watching that journey.
Finally restocked. And you know, after living in the world of Fresca for the last 2 weeks, I do understand the hype. Like it's nice having Fresca around. So I think we're keeping Fresca in business in Tennessee, honestly, between us two.
Clearly.
I didn't know Fresco was sugar-free.
I didn't either. I
I
thought it
didn't
was.
either.
It's like got sodium in it, but there's no sugar, which I was like, oh, calorie sugar-free. Like maybe I should get some for my own garage fridge.
Yeah.
I just don't like the taste of grapefruit.
Oh, I do.
So I'd have to try it.
You're
again. I
not like a
haven't tried it
true
again since high school.
Midwesterner unless you have a garage fridge. That's really
true.
like,
Yeah.
you have to have like a drink fridge. It's usually one that was downgraded from your original fridge that you stick in your garage.
Yep.
I'm not
Now you use it
Midwest
for extra casseroles and like side dishes when you have company.
Yep.
As well as
not
drinks.
Midwest enough to have a deep freeze yet, and that's something I'm aspiring to have.
You know, we had a deep freeze and I didn't feel like we used it. I use a fridge way more than the deep freeze.
Yeah, fridge is very nice.
So
Well, on that note, we would like to talk to you about our sponsor of this video, which is a brand that we love called Mixer. So Tara's going to share one of her favorite products with you from our sponsor. And why do you love Mixers, Tara?
So it just came in the mail right before we podcasted. So I'm super excited. I've been stalking the mailbox because I was out of my her defense. For some reason, my subscription got messed up and so I ran out of it. So I've been out of it for probably a good week. But I have sworn by her defense because the kids come home with like sniffles and stuff all the time. And I feel like you could just have like round the clock, literally colds and sicknesses. So I use this every day. If I feel like even the slightest sniffle coming on, I'll just double up on them. So I'll take one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And I have literally not been sick with the exception of when I got COVID. I have not been sick since I started taking this. And even if I feel like I'm starting to get something, it wipes it out really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been great for that. The other thing I've noticed from being off of it a week is that I started getting headaches again.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does make a difference. And that's one of the things that it talks about is headache relief. So I literally swear by it. People always say, I just saw the mouse walking.
Mouse?
Apparently,
It's just like
apparently a
a
mouse.
shadow. It's falling from the screen.
The mouse
But
is
finally
not.
shut the shade so she doesn't have to watch it anymore because it's been bothering her all day. And I just saw it definitely
It's
fell.
the shadow of the mouse.
That's
Fell from
sad.
the grate back down.
Sorry,
I
that's
know.
me in the
That's
middle.
why I tried to save him. But
Mm.
honestly, he's just not wanting to be saved. He just wants to make it work on his own, and it's just not working.
I used to live, so me, Whit, and Terry used to live in the basement of that, or wait, sorry, let me rephrase that. Me, Whit, and Terry used to live
In the basement.
sorry, no, let me rewind. Tara, Whit, and I used to live in the house that Tara lives in now, and it was our house when we were in college. And I lived in the basement, which also has an egress window, and I had all kinds of critters in my egress window.
But
I
that
had
was before we had a
bunnies.
cover on it, so things fell in it all the time.
Yeah, bunnies, birds, mice. I think there was a lizard in there once. Like I didn't even know you had
Frogs.
lizards. And yeah, it was like, I just remember the bunny was the most treacherous because it was trying to jump. Like I thought
Yeah.
it could be able to jump. And it was so annoying because it was on spring forward. So I was already like getting less sleep. And the bunny fell in at like 4:45 in the morning. So of course, like like that's like 3:45. And I think Brian ended up coming over and getting the bunny out later.
Yeah.
And it was like so annoying because it just kept jumping for like 2.5 hours until I'd wake up for church. And I was like, seriously, you're not getting out. Just wait for us, okay? Anyways, that's a little side story. We did not all live in a basement.
Back to the mixers. So people always ask like, what do you start with? And so they're known for her time. That was kind of the original reason that they started, which helps balance your hormones during your cycle, and all throughout the rest of the month. But this is the one I always tell people to start with because I think her greens are great. Her power is great. Like there's isn't one that I don't like. But I just feel like from this, especially if you have kids, this one is a must have.
Well,
so you can use our code at checkout, Royal, for 10%
yes.
off.
Royal is our code. It's 10% off your order. And I will say when it comes to mixers, what I feel like, because like her greens, you don't really like feel a difference. You know what I mean? Like you're taking her greens is like a 6 servings greens. It tastes great, but it's not like I feel different when I'm taking it, but it's good for like organ health, heart health. It helps your kidney function. Like it's overall great for your organs. in your brain. Whereas like her defense, like if you're getting sick or you're getting chronic UTIs, like you for sure can tell a difference. Like you said, like you can get headaches again. I'm someone who struggles with chronic UTIs. I used to get them like clockwork every 6 months. So I started taking her defense and it's completely cut it out. It's like wild. So
well, and you guys overwhelmed us last week with the number of orders. They did like a birthday special. And so you guys used our code for that. So there's tons of you that are trying it out. But if you didn't get the chance, this is a great time to try it. They also make it really easy because you can put it on a subscription. So you don't have to even, remember it. You just set it up and forget it. And then they show up and you can do it in packs of like 30, 60, or 90, I believe it is. So it makes it really easy to make sure that you're getting the ones that you want. But money well spent for sure. And I'm really picky about the stuff that I take and like what I spend money on, because these are probably $40 a month, something like that. For 60 of them. So it's, it's definitely not necessarily a cheaper option for, like supplements and things like that. But it is, it's definitely the best money I've ever spent on supplements.
Well, two things I would add. Yeah, they taste good.
They taste great.
I was going to say two things I was going to add to that. One, it's made by women for women. It's a completely holistic product. It doesn't have caffeine and it's not sweetened by sugar. So those are like my most common questions. They're sugar-free. They're sweetened by stevia leaf extract. There's no,
and they're safe in pregnancy. There's only one I think you can't take.
And breastfeeding. Yeah, I mean, obviously consult your doctor, but they're supposed to be safe for all of those. So use our code Royal for 10% off at checkout. And like Tara said, lots of you are using mixers now. And the reason it's called mixers is because you can mix different flavors. So you can drink her defense and her greens together. I do her power and her defense. Yeah. So anyways, if you guys have questions or what flavors you like, just message us on socials and we'll help you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are diving into somewhat of a health journey update and just kind of sort of like overall life updates and things that we've chatted about in the past. We did an episode a couple months ago called Why We Broke Up with Diet Culture. The three of us had all used the same health and wellness coach who kind of helped us go through the emotional journey of how to get healthy post-COVID. And so we kind of wanted to do a piggyback update off of that episode. And that was actually, like I said, one of our most viewed episodes on YouTube and most listened to episode on Apple Podcasts. So I wanted to give you guys each a chance to kind of talk about what you're doing now, and then had a couple of questions that we can answer about the podcast. So Tara, do you want to go first?
I'm doing nothing. I'm doing absolutely nothing. I did after 75 hard. I followed through with it for probably 125 straight days, and then kind of slowly backed off of how many days I was working out. And then summer hit and I have literally fallen off the wagon, kept the weight off, but have not done a stitch of exercise all summer long.
Well, I also think that that's important to like normalize. Like it's okay sometimes to have phases in your life where you're like, I'm a mom of 4 and the kids are 7 and under, and you just have a really busy lifestyle. We went through a very big life change with bringing the warehouse, closing the warehouse. And I feel like sometimes it's nice for other people to hear honesty of being like, in the last 30 days, I've done a whole lot of nothing.
In the last 90 days, I've done nothing.
The last 90 days. But you have a pretty major life update of something you're doing to kind of close the chapter of pregnancy and postpartum. So do you want to share what your next steps are?
So I've been contemplating a tummy tuck for probably a year and a half or more. And I had reached out to my cousin who's a nurse, and she had a sister-in-law that had it done. So I spoke to her and she told me like she had twins. And so she had diastasis as well, which is what the separation of the muscles down like your abs. And mine just clearly, like if I'm doing a plank or if I'm doing a sit up, mine actually like tent. So you can see that they're coming to like a point instead of laying flat. So there's some like hernia type stuff going on there a little bit. And so it's just something that has not gone down or changed since post-pregnancy. I started noticing it with Britton's pregnancy, and it got worse with Briggs. My belly button changed too. And then I noticed with like my C-section that I just have skin that's like hanging over the scar. So, so as I was losing weight, that was just something that I thought maybe would go away, but as I'm starting to lose weight, it's starting to hang further rather than go in. And so I went and had a consultation in February, met with the doctor, and decided to go ahead and schedule surgery for August so that it would be once the kids were back in school. So because I couldn't be in the pool after it happened, so I didn't want to do it right before summer.
Right.
So yeah, so it's coming up in like 2.5 weeks. I just had my like pre-op appointment last Friday. So they're going to go in and basically tighten up those muscles. They're going to fix the belly button. And they're going to essentially do a tummy tuck. So they'll pull it down and we'll go in through my C-section scar and repair all that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the recovery aspect of it,
Right.
but
I
I'm
was gonna
looking
say,
forward to it.
I feel like I'm excited for you too, because obviously I haven't started my pregnancy journey yet, but I just feel like the sacrifice that women take to carry children takes such like a massive toll on their body. And there's so much that you don't share or talk about that you do before pregnancy, after pregnancy, or during that. Like, I feel like you don't know until you go through it, and just making that a priority for you to be like, not like you're getting your body back for vain reasons, but just like wanting to feel like yourself again after you carried children for like, what was it, like 8 straight years?
Yeah, I mean, I had 6 pregnancies in 8 years and 8.5 years. And so, just does a number on your body, because in some of the pregnancies were really close together. And so it doesn't
Right.
give your body enough time to heal in between.
Mhm.
And so, there's just aftermath of that. I mean,
Right.
I know women suffer from pelvic floor dysfunction and having what's the other one that people struggle with post pregnancy besides pelvic floor? Isn't the other one called something? When we were trying to do
Aside from diastasis and pelvic floor, I feel like those are the 2 main ones.
yeah, I was thinking there was another name with the
It's
pelvic
like a
floor one.
prolapse and things like that.
But there's just a lot of that nobody talks about, and there's there's a lot of recovery that you have to do, that you can do a lot with physical therapy, for
Right.
sure, and things get better. But there's just some things, like if you stretch out the skin, it's just not coming back.
Right.
So, and if you have big babies, that's just the unfortunate truth of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, ready to take it over.
Yes. What was the question?
Kind of your current health journey. So you've kind of started, well, not started, I guess you started back in January, but you started with a coach to kind of like regain your body after postpartum. So do you want to share about that?
Well, it was like 2020. The year 2020 is when I wanted to kind of get my body back after I had Ever, my now 2-year-old, and I lost the weight. But I got to a point where I wasn't doing it in a healthy way. I didn't realize I was doing it an unhealthy way, but
Sure.
I got comfortable with just like not eating very often. And then that made my thyroid kind of bottom out. I started getting anxiety really, really badly.
You said your hair fell out too.
My hair fell out. I like, honestly, my skin was so dry. Like all these random things I hadn't had issues with before started to flare up. And I realized I needed to stop eating the way that I was. I was literally just eating like like 2 spoonfuls of peanut butter at lunch.
Jif peanut butter cups.
Yeah. And then I would eat like chicken and veggies for dinner. Like I wasn't trying to be unhealthy. It was just it was so crazy. I didn't have time to sit down and like prep. And so I just eat peanut butter. It's like, it's a good protein source.
You literally didn't break from that from like 9 months straight either. Like you wouldn't eat a cookie, a cake, a potato, like nothing. Like I was impressed with your resolve.
Yeah.
I knew that the minute I would eat sugar, I would just like spiral out of control, because I have like no willpower when it comes to that.
I will say you were not fun to eat out with or to try to have a snack with at that time.
We're like, let's get a Jean's ice cream. And Whitney's like, I can't. And me and Terry are like, okay, you stay here. We're going to Jean's.
Yeah. I mean, like eating is very social,
It
so like a lot of things that we enjoy aren't necessarily the best for you. But
have you guys seen that TikTok? I literally sent it to Phil. Because like when you're a woman, like eating ice cream by yourself is not fun. Like if you're craving ice cream and you like, or like you want to eat bad and you like, so this girl on TikTok did this video and she goes, you guys, my boyfriend just said that he'll take me to go get a milkshake when I asked him if I could go get a milkshake. And he goes, yeah, babe, like, I'm not going to get one, but let's go get you one. And then it splits to this guy who's duetting in it. And he goes, okay, listen, let me mansplain this to your boyfriend in case you haven't broken up with him yet. And he's like, listen, he's like, women have this like internal voice that they're battling all the time. That's like, you're fat, you're dumb, you don't need a milkshake. he's like, they're battling these voices all the time. And he's like, so if she wants a milkshake, you dumbass, it doesn't mean she'd go get her one. It means go with her and support her and eat a milkshake. He's like, the one time she wants to eat bad and you're like, well, I'm not going to eat one. And I literally sent it to Phil and I was like, this is how I feel when you say, I'll take you to Dairy Queen, but I'm not going to eat a cone. I'm like, I need you to go with me to Dairy Queen and get a cone. That's happened to us so long. Like it just made me laugh. Sorry for the language, but it was just like the delivery was so funny when he's like, I need to mansplain this to you. And I'm like, sometimes you just need a friend to go in with you on the junk food, you know?
That's funny because I feel like here, like I like ice cream, but I'm not obsessed with it. And Brian loves ice cream. He can eat Dairy Queen all the time. So I feel like we're role reversed in that. Like he'll be like, do you want to go get Dairy Queen? And I'm like, I mean, I'll go get it for you, but I probably won't get some myself. Like I don't necessarily always crave it. I would much rather have a brownie.
I know. I was talking to my sister-in-law about this last night and she's like, yeah, see, like Jeff, he'll just, if he wants ice cream, he just goes and gets it for himself. And I'm like, I can't imagine just like going and getting a cone by myself. I guess that I have the freedom to do so, but I never do because I feel like there is like a layer of guilt, you know, like it's stupid that it is that way, but that is how I feel. Yeah. So anyways, I'll post the TikTok for you guys later, but keep going.
So anyways, my thyroid bottomed out. And so then I did like a hair test to confirm my suspicion and my thyroid was very low functioning and a very low metabolism. So I wasn't getting hungry like ever, which is not good. So then I started in on a plan with a coach. And she set it up so I have 5 meals a day and they're very lean meals. There's actually a lot of calories. I'm full all the time. Like it's actually so much food that it's at a point where I'm like, I don't know if I can eat all this.
Yeah.
But I am technically at a calorie deficit. So I'm working out harder than the amount that I'm eating. But it's very satiating. My hunger is back now. My thyroid, I think, is way back on track. I still have like spikes of anxiety and stuff, but I think it comes more from stress than just my health and like mental state. But yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last 6 months. It's a slow process, but
that's great.
I'm kind of just working my way through it.
I probably am not going to share about this too much on social media just because I don't know how I'm going to feel and what it's going to be like. But we did do, like, I'll probably only share about it on the podcast. So if you guys want fertility updates, this is probably the place that I'll share it the most. But we did meet with a IVF clinic yesterday for the first like day of getting it started. And I texted my sisters this, you guys already know this, but they weighed me and like I've done so good all week and I was actually down like 5 pounds and the scale was like significantly different than what I had weighed at home. And I was kind of like, oh, what a bummer. And like I asked the nurse, I'm like, should I take my shoes off or like, you know, how do we do this here? And she was like, oh, I'll take off a couple pounds for clothes, but she did not. But anyways, but it was hilarious. Is like he's going through our profile. The doctor's like, so Kate, you know, your weight's at like such and such, you know. He literally said, you know, obesity leads to higher rates of miscarriage. So like, if you really, you know, it's like no big deal, but like if you were thinking about losing weight, that might be a good idea. But like, if not, I'm not super concerned about it. And I like looked at Phil and Phil was like, I was like, wow, that is pretty, like, this is at like 7:30 on a Monday morning also. So I was like, what a way to start my day. Also, just hopefully no men are listening to this part. I didn't know ultrasounds were vaginal. And that was a real nice treat on my Monday morning as well. I'm like, wow, 8 a.m. I'm just killing it today.
They do that until 12 weeks, don't they? At
So
least 12 weeks.
During pregnancy, yeah, you do it up until 12 weeks. And then they switch at the 20 week to like a belly one.
Yeah.
yeah, like things you didn't know. You know what I mean? Like nobody tells you that. I was just like, whoa, why is that happening to me right now? So that was just, I was like, I feel like this is the start of a lot of things being in this area, and I just need to get used to it
Yeah.
a lot. But anyways, so we are starting this process, and we got good and bad news. I'll just say that. Like there was things we already knew that we confirmed. It was pretty obvious based on like our results that he basically confirmed like there is no other option. Like essentially like the damage that had been done to our bodies that was preventing us from getting pregnant is it's irreversible. And so so essentially that like in his mind it was the only option, which was, it was good to hear, to have closure on it, but also just like a hard pill to swallow. So anyways, I was talking to our health coach and my personal trainer about the fact that I knew that my body's going to go through a lot by taking all these injections, because there's various hormones essentially that my body is going to be pumped with the next couple of months. And I had a really honest conversation with my health coach, which I'll get into with these little like follow-up questions. But I just was like, I want to make sure that I'm eating in a way that I feel good and that I don't feel shame as my body's going to change as I get pregnant, and like really accepting the fact that it's going to look different. So if I can pair good habits on what I can control to feel good, and also like be excited, I want to be excited for my body to change. Does that make sense? And so, and Renee, our health coach, was like, well, yeah, like you're pregnant, you don't get to control what happens to you. You know what I mean? Like it's a gift that your body can like change and morph in all these different ways. So anyways, we'll dive into that a little deeper. But that's kind of where I'm at. So I've been tracking macros and working out 4 to 5 days a week, doing cardio 3 days a week, and I lift weights 4 days a week. And then I have it's not identical to Whitney's. My plan is just basically like tracking calories and stuff. But I definitely ate chips and queso last night. So that was like the first time that I like eaten. Not great. Okay, so I wanted to ask, my first question is, when was the last time you felt really good about your body?
Honestly, I think the last time that I felt like I was in a really good, like really fit and liked overall, was right before my wedding, because I had been working out really consistently, and I wasn't necessarily at my smallest weight, but I was my most fit. And so I felt like the most confident at that point, because I knew that I felt really strong. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of in my head is where I've always kind of wanted to get back to, or near there. Because it wasn't so much about like what clothes were fitting. It just, I felt like overall I felt fit, I felt healthy, I felt strong. And that's where I would like to get back to.
I feel like the smallest in my adult life was back in 2020 when I had lost all the weight. However, I feel more proud of my body now, and I'm not anywhere near my goal right now. I definitely want to be more in shape. I don't really have a goal weight, but I definitely have like an ideal shape I want to get to eventually. But right now, in the fact that I'm actually doing what I should be doing, like working out and lifting weights, and then also eating according to how like my body like needs in order to like perform on all cylinders. It's what I've always wanted to do, but I just didn't know how to do it before now.
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of to piggyback off of Whitney, I feel like I'd lost a lot of weight a couple years ago, but I feel like I was doing it in a non-healthy way, like Whitney was saying. And honestly, the best I've felt like physically, it has been this year. Like knowing that I'm properly training, like Whitney said, really focusing on muscle mass. And then also just like like from a mind, body, and soul connectivity type of thing, this is like the first time in my life where I feel like I'm firing at all cylinders. Like I know how to cook for myself properly. I'm getting outside almost on a daily basis to have like a mental break. I'm working out consistently. Like I feel like that's the first time that I've felt really confident, like in all ways, if that makes sense. Okay. My next question is, what do you really feel like what helps you feel good?
I feel like the thing that I have missed the most about 75 Hard is doing the getting outside, because we talked about this, a couple weeks ago, where I had met with one of our friends who basically does life coaching, and
Mhm.
she was saying it's like taking out the trash, like mentally taking out the trash. And I felt like that's exactly what it did for me. It was my way to decompress, and it was my 45 minutes of time to just have like time to process, think, pray, listen to a podcast, just like think through my day, think through tomorrow, whatever it was. It was just a way for me to kind of like let all that out at the
Mhm.
same time of, getting exercise. So I definitely felt energized,
Mhm.
and like I had a lot more, I didn't feel so run down. Even
Yeah.
though we were working out an hour and a half every day, it was the most energy I have had in a really long time.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I felt like made me feel really good. And just even a mood stabilizer, all of it.
Mhm.
Isn't it funny how we can kind of trick ourselves into thinking like, oh, I don't have enough energy to work out and put in the work. But the minute that you do it, you feel so much better that it gives you more energy.
Yeah.
You feel a lot better about yourself. And then you're not like sabotaging your like your process or like your I don't know, your
Mhm.
momentum,
Yeah.
motivation. I feel like, to answer your question, Kate, I feel like I feel the best when I am sticking to my plan and knowing I'm doing it well, because
Mhm.
then I can kind of relax and thinking like, okay, that's taken care of. I don't have to think about like, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and feel so chubby because of all the crap that I ate
Yeah.
before. Like
Mhm.
my food is already figured out for me. Like I already know what I'm supposed to be eating. And when I eat according to it, I don't have to worry about what food I should or should not be eating.
Right.
Like it's already laid out, it's already planned. I know like once I do my workout, I'm going to feel so much better. I'm going to sleep better. My stress is going to be lowered because of just obviously the biological effects of exercise.
Right.
And then I have weigh-ins twice a week. I have them on Monday and Thursday. And so like I know that come Thursday, I'm going to have a really good weigh-in. I'm gonna like see, yeah, I put in the work, and so I'm gonna see
Mhm.
the results. Like you put in the works, you get results. It's just
Mhm.
like that easy. So I
But you
feel
also realize what a mental game it is,
it really
because
is. You're
you're
battling your
you're
mind. You're not
battling your mind.
battling the stress of whatever. You're battling your mind, because in your mind you're like, oh, I'll never be that thin, or I'll never be able to wear those pants again, or oh, I'll never be able to have the energy to do that.
Or just even, I'm too tired to go for a walk.
Yeah,
I don't have
exactly.
time to do this. You can talk yourself out of anything. And I think that was the one thing that I liked about 75 Hard, is that it was all about, there's no excuses. Like
Mhm.
if you want to do this, you will make time and you'll make effort. And I walked away from that going, okay, you literally will make a priority for anything that's important to you. And it's not about not having the time. It's about not choosing it to be a priority.
Mhm.
And
Right.
it's true. And I recognize it in other areas of my life now, that if I'm making an excuse, it's because I just don't want to.
Mhm.
It's not because I can't.
I was talking to Renee about this because my answer would be consistency. And she said that women get tripped up on the word should. And I thought that that was really interesting because I said, I sometimes have shame if I miss a workout, or, I didn't meal prep properly. And I said to myself, I should have. And she was like, that is like one of the most toxic words that women repeat. And she said, what you should do instead is you can make a rule for yourself that has grace. So, like, if you say, okay, I missed a workout this week, but in 1 week, I would never miss more than fill in the blank. Maybe it's one, maybe it's two. And she was like, and then you hold yourself to that standard and you give yourself that accountability, because then it's like, she's like, yeah, of course life happens, or, you know, your air conditioning goes out and you have to move in with your parents. Like, she was like, there's so many things that can happen. So you have to give yourself some leniency in life, because of course, like, there's always going to be issues. But I have found that I feel the best and I feel the most motivated when I'm consistent, because then I'm less hard on myself, because there's a feeling of almost like oxytocin, is that what it's called? Like, you get the hit of being like, I'm taking care of myself, and it motivates you to continue. So if I'm not consistent, she said women like think that if they skip one workout, they've ruined their life. They'll be like, well, I ruined my whole plan because I missed 2 days in a row and now I'm just going to spiral. And it's like the fear of spiraling is why they like stop. And then they don't know how to like wrap their head around like, no, you just work out tomorrow. Like, it's fine. Like, you just get back to it. So there's like weird mental things, I feel like you said, that goes on in your
There's a
mind.
perfectionism that is in it, that
Yes.
if you miss one day, you're like, well, I screwed it up for this week, I might as well start next Monday instead.
Yes,
Mhm.
And
exactly.
rather than just going, okay, today is out the window, or you just say, I screwed up breakfast, let's start at lunch. Like, that's one thing I think the Renee was helpful with, is that it's easy to get in this perfection mode, that in order to do it perfectly, you have to do it exactly like this. And the reality is you just make a better choice at the next meal.
One thing
Yeah.
that she said to me that I cried when she said is, she's like, I don't know why you bestow so much shame like on yourself. And I was like, well, that's something I feel like I've worked on since you and I have met. And she said, Kate, like, I want you to know that you take good care of your body. And I don't know why, like, I could even cry now. Like, it struck me so hard, because she was like, you do. She was like, you prioritize your working out, you're cooking healthy meals. Like, she's like, sure, there's days you miss or days you eat bad, but she was like, that doesn't mean that, like, from an overall perspective, that there's not a general effort in your life to take care of yourself. And she's like, and it's evident that it's a priority to you. And so she was like, you need to like recite that to yourself, like, I take good care of myself. And it was so simple, like, it was such a simple statement that I was like, yeah, I do. Like, why am I always like so hard on myself? Like you said, like, if I ate a bad breakfast or missed a meal or whatever, like, fill in the blank. And I just thought that was such like a powerful statement, though it was so simple. It like really struck me in the moment, where I was like, yeah, that was really important for me to grasp onto, I feel like, and tell myself. I know we're running out of time, so I'll finish with this one instead. I was going to say, what major changes have you made? What's the most major change you made? But we kind of already talked about that. But my last thing is like, what's your biggest piece of advice to other women?
I would say, like, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I think giving yourself grace, because and to normalize that doing something for yourself is okay. Like,
Yeah.
I think that there can be, like, just even going in for plastic surgery, I know is like, I feel like I have to say, like, I'm going to get my diastasis fixed in order to justify getting a tummy tuck. The
Mhm.
reality is that it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't have to use that as my underlying reason as to why I'm getting a tummy tuck. I just want the tummy tuck, right? Like, I
Yeah.
want to do something for myself. I want to be able to like do something that gives me like a boost of confidence to get
Mhm.
back to more of a pre-pregnancy body. And in doing so, it's also going to fix two things that are, like, that have been bothering me for
Right.
5 years. But I feel like there's still this like taboo around plastic surgery that I don't feel like should be there. If it's something that you are comfortable with doing and also, would like to do for yourself. Like, I
Mhm.
don't think it should be a taboo conversation. And so I do feel like women should, I think there's a guilt to, one, spending the money, two, doing something for you, because there's always something that you could be doing else for your kids or your family. And I feel like the reality is that you do have to, at some point in time, make yourself a priority and put yourself first at times.
For me, one thing I feel like I've learned is that like losing weight is not linear.
Mhm.
Like just even stress and cortisol can make you hold on to weight, even if you are being consistent in working out and eating healthy and treating your body right. But hormones are a big thing, and your mental state too. If you're in a bad mental state and you're not staying positive and knowing like, okay, this week is going to be great. Instead, you're waking up and being like, oh crap, this day already sucks. Like your mental state is huge. It plays a huge part. And also just consistency is key. I think that has been really helpful for me, is like, if I stay on my plan, I do my workouts, I can rest in the fact of knowing that I'm doing what I should be doing, and consistency is going to play a role in that. I am going to see the results. I already have. And naturally, if I'm going to like go off plan and eat whatever I want, like, of course, that's going to affect your body, and like hormonally and mentally too, especially with how you react with certain foods like gluten. Gluten almost makes me, first of all, it makes me really swollen. And second, it affects my emotions. Like I get really almost anxious and stressed and maybe slightly depressed. I've noticed. I never realized that was my reaction to gluten until I had been on this plan. So I have to stay away from that, because I notice huge spiral with that. Or at least kind of heal my gut first and maybe reintroduce it after I feel like I'm better. But yeah, anyways, staying on plan and staying consistent, and just know that there are some weeks where stress is going to like, maybe cause you to gain a few pounds, but it'll come right off as soon as you kind of get your cortisol back in check.
I think the thing that's helped me the most, and I would say is like my piece of advice, is if your overall goal was health, not weight. And like, what if you made every decision based on like, this is good for me, not this is going to make my waistline smaller. And I feel like we are a generation, us and Gen Z, that can actually like make a difference in our society, because we grew up with diet culture. And if you go into like the Kardashians' comments, which I know they don't read their comment section, the horrible things that people say about their bodies constantly, and like body shaming, is like disgusting. Like there's still a huge portion of our culture that is still like clinging to like, we need to look a certain way, or like, why wouldn't you just lose some weight, or your cellulite is gross. And I think that that's a projection off of people growing up in that and feeling like they need to project the fact that they probably struggle with that. You know what I mean? And so I feel like we can make a difference in really like taking those thoughts captive and dissecting it and saying like, what's actually true.
Well,
And
you can also take your thoughts captive and not comment on someone's social media. Like, keep it to yourself.
Totally.
It's so ridiculous that goes on.
Another thing too, I feel like social media has really kind of pushed is like taking the time for like mental health and like treat yourself. But for me personally, when I'm stressed, I immediately think, oh, I need to treat myself. I want to like binge eat. And I'm like, this is for my mental health. So I have a way of like almost like justifying the behavior, instead of what I should actually be doing is like sitting in the emotion of the stress and kind of trying to pinpoint like why I'm anxious, and like dealing with it in a healthier way than being like, give me all the sugar, let me binge on this, I need it for my mental health. Like that was kind of what I was doing. And it was just perpetuating the situation, because my thyroid was completely out of whack. Sugar is not what you want for a really bad thyroid. I'm not a doctor or anything. I just know that just makes it worse. And so this, like what I've been doing has been really helpful and healthier. It's having me like actually process through emotion rather than avoidant behavior, diving into like books instead of sitting with like why I feel the need to like avoid something, or all of a sudden I like feel like I need to eat something that isn't technically on my plan even though I'm not hungry. Like it's kind of taking a look at the behavior and deep diving into it, so that way you're not perpetuating a long-standing issue.
And I think that the question that I've learned to ask myself is to dissect the thought by saying what is actually true. And if the thought about yourself is negative, and you're like, oh, I'm so chubby. And then you could be like, no, what is true? Am I bloated? Like, you know what I mean? Like, am I having a reaction to salt or like something like that? You know what I mean? Instead of just like standing and facing yourself and saying horrible things about your body, like what is actually true about what's happening to your body? And I feel like that's something that's helped me not only feel more confident, but like understand that my body has done so much for me and like really truly is like on my team. Like we're not at odds with each other. Like it's actually trying to help me. And so I feel like that's been something I feel like that's helped me a lot and had me fall in love and be comfortable where I'm at each phase of like regaining my health back, if that makes any sense. Yeah, this was a great conversation. We're so grateful for another episode of Sisterhood Society podcast. We hope that you enjoy mixers. Use our code ROYAL at checkout. Just a last reminder, support our sponsors so we can keep doing this because it's so fun. And if you liked what you heard, make sure to leave us a review on Apple as well as YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you like the video version, if you want to get real life reactions, that's where you can see the tea. All right, guys, we love you and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.